Good morning. Everyone is sleeping in my castle, and I thought I'll use this time to record this video now, because when I talk, I think two languages. I also think what I need to say. I don't get prompting questions to respond and address, and I'm trying to cover as much as I can in a very limited time. So these are the challenges here. But this video is going to be in reference to choosing the right ABA company. I will give you an example, but those people that just need an answer, quick, choose a private or small ABA company, okay? Don't go for corporations. So with that, if you have to go and do your other things, because I know you have children that needs time, and you just cannot be sitting here watching for I don't know how long that one's gonna go, but I will try to explain why now. Okay, so choose private over corporation, the large ABA. So what happens in real life when you buy merchandise of any kind? You buy something you already know and you already trusted, established, like Nike's, Reebok, shirts, shoes, whatnot, and you're paying for that name because you're getting quality with that, because this company large, is established, it's been around for so long. And that's what happens with ABA companies. When you go to choose one, you're going to pick one that is big, established, means credibility, whatnot, and this is actually wrong with ABA. You do want to get the small company because they provide higher quality services for you, and there's reasons for that. I'm gonna try to see if I can capture all these reasons here, but insurance companies, they pay for therapy hands-on only, and they do have a separate billing for BCBAs to do a treatment plan. That's separate billing, but most money are coming from hands-on therapy, and that money brought to companies by actually ABA techs, because they're the ones who do hands-on. They come to your house and they do the work. Larger corporations nowadays, they're profit-oriented. They're no more client-oriented, unfortunately, and I've seen how my company regressed to that. But smaller companies, they have to withstand the whole competition, because see, like, you're gonna go and choose bigger companies, so they have to do something to compete, and they compete with the quality. In addition, all these large corporation ABA companies, they have a very large layer of directors, vice presidents, assistant director, you name it, there's a lot of them. And they don't provide therapies, but they get top dollar. Why? Well, it is what it is. They're just in charge, and that's what they getting paid from that money that insurances pay for hands-on services. With smaller companies, you have less directors and vice. It could be one, maybe two people, so they're not as greedy to feed all that staff that technically don't produce money. They don't provide therapy, they just in charge, right? So that's why I want to go small company with this. Now, reason for larger companies to become profit nowadays is because we have a very significant factor. We have autism rate on the rise, we have services required on the rise, and with that we're losing quality. So in order for large corporations to feed all these directors and CEOs, they need to have more people, and they need to make some cuts. So typical tech, they just will hire somebody without any training, without license, as long as they have a clean criminal background. That's the only requirement. I know that. And so, because they, the training is actually costs money for the companies that, that they need to spend on this tax, so they try to cut it off too. And so when I had people coming in, zero training, zero. Just think about that. They're supposed to provide medical therapy. They come in from the street. This is not actually a speech therapist or occupational therapist that they go to school for. Those get training. They get college, whatever it is. They get certifications. They're more experienced. But when you get ABA tech, that yesterday worked as a cashier, now he's working as an ABA technician. They don't have that experience. And the companies, large companies, they don't even ask for that anymore. They don't even ask about license. Because why? Because license, they would have to pay them more for the license. So in order for any person to start, this kind of field with ABA, they go large companies with zero experience. And these companies don't give them that experience, don't give them the training either. So they come in blank. And that's why ABA doesn't work. They come in and just babysit. And that's different. Babysit is, you know what that is. And you don't want them to do that. So this is where you go wrong choosing a larger companies. Now, large companies, again, I already said, they pay less money to tax because they need to feed all these directors above, right? They have to feed those. They have very little to no training whatsoever when they come in. They also have virtual BCBAs because they don't want to have that many. BCBAs cost them more, so they would offer like virtual BCBA, and virtual BCBA cannot train because they're virtual. They're not hands-on, just like whatever. Now, people that come in with no background or no experience and no license, they get that experience over time, and then once they get that experience, they get license usually, and they try to get some more money for their work. And companies, they don't gonna pay them much. They already started at base, and that base is probably gonna stay in place for quite some time. If they stay for a year, they will increase it once, and then they stay more. They got license, they want more money for experience and license. The companies will say no. This is what happens then. These trained and licensed technicians, they're gonna start looking for another job, a better pay job per se, and they're gonna be looking for that job with private companies. Why? Because private companies, they have more money to spend. They don't have all that eaters up above to pay. So they're gonna hire these people that are more experienced and have license, and they're gonna pay more money too. And they're going to spend more time training them because it's a competition now, right? They have to compete somehow, and the competition is based on quality of services. So private companies, they have more time to spend with ABA techs training them, and they already have license because they spend a year at the company that is larger. That's how they try to get the quality services. So when they come in, and private companies more likely will have a real ABAs, the one that come in the house and they do hands-on, and they train them right there with the child. They can look at things and they can address it as they go. That doesn't happen with corporations probably anymore. But in my case, I had a virtual BCBAs, so I know what I'm talking about, okay? So small companies, again, I already said that they have less people to feed, right? So that means they have more money to spend on training, and they have more money to spend on salaries, and they're gonna keep less turnover of staff because they're gonna pay them and they're gonna stay with these companies. Whereas corporations, they just hire and they keep losing them over and over. So they even start doing training for them because it's just high turnover. As soon as they learn something, they go elsewhere. Let's see. How turnover affects you? Well, big time, because you get in one one tech coming in, and then once that tech already got experience and left, they're gonna send you another one and another one and another one, and all of this is basically gonna go to pairing. I already said that in my elementary level of ABA, where you start and all, because that pairing can go for weeks and months, and then parent basically is babysitting, because they cannot teach them anything. They have to get engaged, they have to establish bond, trusting, relationship with these children. And by the time they establish that, the new one comes in, and it just keeps going in circles. Just don't even go to that table to teach them something. Just basically they spend time playing with them, right? Let's see. You do want to have BCBA on site, and corporations cannot provide that anymore. I think by the fact that they make them virtual, they can manage more cases that way, because for BCBA it requires to go to the house, the one that comes to the house, and then they also have to travel to another house. That's time, transition, transportation. That's the time when they need to spend. Whereas with virtual, just turn the computer on, turn it off. You don't have to travel, so they saving money on that as well. I mean, the corporations do. That's why they're okay with virtual, but it doesn't work. I know. Okay, let's see. I hope I said everything, because I just forgot. If you just ask me questions, that would be much more helpful to me. Important thing is to, when you're looking for a company, look at that feedback. And I would not just say look at the Google, because through Google you will get feedback from parents, but you actually want to see what the employees have to say about the company. And for that feedback, you need to go to Indeed.com and look what employees are saying about that company. If this is not healthy environment and how they treat their techs, this is all you need to know. You don't want to work with this company because they don't treat people right who actually bring the money. You want these people to be happy before they come to your door. And if their company don't treat them well, that's it. That's it. They're gonna leave. And they're gonna be sending you people to pair, right? To babysit your kids. I had all kinds of techs. It's like numerous amount of them, and I had techs that would, and because I'm very proactive, I know ABA, I have resources, I design everything, I coach, I train, I stay. I had people that would come in with zero experience in ABA, zero. One person had 3 children with disabilities, and she just wanted to learn through the company how to teach her own children. That's why she went to go and get that kind of job. But then she told me, like, they didn't give me any training. I was like, well, you don't worry, I'll give you the training as long as you want to learn something from me. I will train you. But I also know once I'm training you, and once you become experienced and you get your license, you're out of the door, because you're going to be looking for another job, because you want money eventually, more money for your experience. And the companies, large companies, they don't want to pay you more, even though they're the ones who bring the whole profit, right? Because that has to go up to feed the CEOs, right? Let's see. And again, corporations, high turnover, so they send a tag and just basically for babysitting. And because new families, they don't know what ABA is about, and many times we just want them just to have a break, like respite, but it's not what it is about. They have to actually, it's a medical therapy, it's a medical science-based therapy, not babysitting. But they send you those people, they pretty much taking your time just for that, so they can just babysit. But that's not what you want, right? You want your child to progress, and just babysitting is just not going to do. Okay, let's see. That's why parents have to be engaged in every session. Look for clues, look for signs, see what they do, how they how they communicate with your child. They play, if they interact with them, if they whatever. See what they do. Many times, like I said, they don't even have experience when they send them. The large corporation, they send people because of the turnover. They just don't want to spend money on training, because they're just going to go away. The ones that are smart techs, and they want to learn something, they stay. until they get experience, and then they go. But that's your loss, because you're gonna lose that good tech, go into private company now working. Let's see. When you talk to these companies, you want ask for their, some of the tips. Ask them for their cancellation policy. It's very important, because in my days, if the session was canceled, they would send me a substitute. Nowadays, I think I was grandfathered because I was proactive, but in some cases now they don't even have that anymore. So it's like, okay, the tech canceled, guess what? You're not getting anything, and you're not getting a substitute. You're not gonna get that 20 hours a week or whatnot if they just keep canceling and don't send anybody. So you want to ask about that cancellation policy. If somebody cancels, will they send you another tech? And that should be in place, because later they're gonna say, oh, we don't say anything. We never, cancel, that means cancel. Sorry. Let's see. And when the techs come on site, I had a very big issue with that. You may want to just interview them. Maybe I do a separate video on that, but you want to interview your techs. You want to ask their background. You want to ask if they have license, if they've been ever exposed to autism. Maybe they have their own children. Absolutely prohibit the use of phones, personal phones. I told them that. I said, okay, you're here to provide medical therapy, okay? You're not going to be babysitting here. You're going to be providing medical therapy, so you make sure that phone is on vibe, and you're not going to be using drills or videos or communicate to your friends while you're here with my child, okay? Yeah, I only allow your phone to be available to you in the case of emergency, like family emergency or like a work emergency, and you have that phone, and you're going to respond to that phone only when something like this happens. But you're not going to be just like giving iPad to my son and pulling your phone and sitting on that phone. I'm sorry, but no, that's not what you're here for. And this is what they try to do, because parents don't know what ABA is, and they think you're just going to be sitting there with the kids so you can go and do your things. No. Forget it, and prohibit the use of personal phones, because this is getting to an obsession. And even BCBAs, when they would send text to me, they said, this mother is crazy, so don't use the phone. And they would still do it. And I recorded them so they could not see with a hidden camera. And I see like that one guy, he came in and he's like, I told him, I was like, I'm gonna be leaving, so I know he's sad. He knows I'm not around, but still he like goes like back way and then that way, looking, he turned his head to make sure nobody around, and he pulls his phone. But I'm recording him too. So get smart with these people, because you want to get the services, the quality ABA here, and you do a little something to make that happen. And if they even argue that Medicaid is not going to pay for cell phones, and your child is suffering because they steal in that time from them, and you think that they get in something down the skill some kind, yeah, you want to be there, you want to watch them, you even want to record them to make sure your child gets the services. That's how that was with me 2 years ago, and that's when I said enough. I'm not gonna go that. I will do the ABA, because I'm tired training their techs, and then they leave and go provide services for private companies then. Okay, so let's see. So private companies, they also, because they compete, they provide a lot of resources, because parents usually don't have resources. Larger companies, I just know. I've talked to techs and I asked them, does your company provide resources? Because each child is different, and sometimes you have to make those resources. And they said, Larissa, we come in the office, all we have is printer and laminator. I donated some stuff to them too. I don't know where that went, but I donated them some stuff, and they still won't have it. Yeah, the techs say, we don't have any resources. Thank God you do, because we come in here, we don't have to worry about that. So large companies got to the point where they don't even, no training and no resources. So they coming in like blink. So when you see technician coming in with a luggage, oh, you may got something there. But if you see one that comes in with nothing and just personal phone, that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be on that phone, right? Because there's no resources, low pay, they're not motivated, and they're just looking for another job probably on that phone too. Yeah, it is what it is. And engage in all therapies, because if they see you around, they're not going to be fooling you. So be there, sit there, watch them, record them like I did, to see what happens when you're not around. That's the extent, people. I know. That's how I got rid of some of them, because I'm saying I'm leaving. He's supposed to be doing the work. He's pulling the phone. My son is working and he's on his phone. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. This is why you want small company which spends more money on their tax. They provide them more training. They go on web they go in home, hands-on, training them. And I know this because when I started, we had that, and then it disappeared. And I knew this, like, we had that and now we don't. So I know I have two things to compare. That's why you want private company. They are not as greedy. They are client oriented because they have to compete. They provide more resources. They provide more training, and they have BCBA on site. So if you're missing these things with corporations, and yes, go back to that Indeed and see what people have to say that work there, what they have to say about that employer. And most of the time, it's not a good feedback. So, and probably on Indeed, you won't find much feedback on the private companies either. But technically, it should be better. Again, I don't have any questions coming in, so I get sidetracked. And to summarize this, don't go for large companies, because insurances pay money for therapy hands-on. And when you have a large block of directors, that's where the money gonna go. And in private, they have more money to spend because they have less people in charge. They have more money to spend on tax, their training. They want to maintain them. They want to give them higher salary because they can afford that. Because large corporations and small corporations of companies, they get the same money for the ABA hour provided. So they have more room to play with that money. And because they have to compete, they don't get greedy. They are thriving for quality services. And that's when you get the, somewhat real ABA therapy. Again, I just hope I like to repeat myself. I'm tired. It's morning and I'm already tired. But there's some of the information here. Choose private company or small company if you can. And TRICARE is good insurance, by the way. I don't know how it is these days, but back then they would require I know that they would require providing ABA through BCBA. BCBA would have to provide the therapy, not tech. That's why TRICARE is good, whoever has that insurance, because they require the top-notch people provide the therapy that actually know something about ABA, right? So, but with Medicaid and others, yeah, you have to watch them. Okay, I hope it was interesting. It's 25 minutes, probably 6 hours of upload. If you have any questions, let me know, because you cannot put 11 years of experience on 25-minute video. And I've had it all, so I know a lot. Talk to you soon.